I have an easy time going to sleep. The one thing that's honestly really helped me is a dog in the bed. It sounds so weird.
Dude.
But like Bailey goes to sleep consistently at the same time every night. And the fact that she's going to sleep makes me go to sleep. It's oddly calming because it's like 11:30, she's asleep. And I don't want to be like up there on my phone.
Thinking about. Yeah. Well, on top of that, there's some pretty good evidence that suggests the sound of a fire or the sound of a snoring dog improves sleep depth for humans.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. So think ancestrally, right?
Yeah.
If you are sleeping in any environment, whether it be one that you are familiar with or one that you're not familiar with, fire will scare off predators and keep you warm. Dog will also be early warning system. So those are cues that you, human, does not need to be as vigilant during your sleep. So during sleep, there's these things called micro awakenings, right? And you can judge the number of micro awakenings as a proxy for vigilance. It's like, this is one of the problems with comedians and people that go on the road, or me, like right now, me and my team are on the road. We filmed in Vegas yesterday. We're going to LA tomorrow. You can have the most dialed bedtime routine with the blackout blinds, and you've got the face mask and the nose strip and everything else. But you're not in a place that you know well. And that alienation causes you to be more vigilant, which means that you will do more micro awakenings. You were tracking some herd of whatever the fuck 50,000 years ago, and you sleep in an unfamiliar cave. You don't know what's around. You don't know if this predator's around or another tribe. So it's in your interests to not go into his deep sleep. This is the same thing that happens when you're away from your normal bed. So you can optimize your sleep environment as much as possible, but you can't really work around that problem unless you bring a dog with you and set something on fire.
So I'm curious. I listen to like sleep sounds in addition to the dog, and the sleep sounds are like, you know, a nighttime forest. Sometimes
headphones?
No, just one of those little speakers.
Okay. Right.
So it sounds like a forest, and you hear sometimes like rain and stuff like that. Would you say it's better to listen to a campfire instead?
Maybe. For me personally, silence, like really, really good quality sleep earplugs, which are only like $20 on Amazon, the ones that I use. That is just a complete game changer, like absolute silence and nothing.
I could never do that because I'm paranoid, and I've always been paranoid that someone's going to break in at night.
Dude, you're in a gated community.
Doesn't matter.
There's a scary man at the front.
Doesn't matter. So I like to be able to hear the alarm go off in my sleep.
He's a very high anxiety person, just for the record. So
only the paranoid survive, man.
So it's but we also have cameras also that give me a notification if someone steps foot on the property within like 20
And you've
feet.
got a dog.
Yeah. So, but if someone steps foot, then I get the notification on my phone first, and then if anything opens, I get a beeping or an alarm, and I want to be able to hear that. So if I'm like totally tuned out, I never want to be in a position where it's like I open my eyes and there's someone there.
One of my old business partners, Dave, who was the guy that was one above us, so he lived in a place in Leeds, which is working class town similar to Newcastle. He had a brand new Audi Q7 outside, and it's maybe like an £80,000 car, 100 grand car, USD. Some guys managed to break into his house. His bedroom was on what we would call the first floor, not the ground floor. And then his brother's bedroom was on the top floor. So these guys had spotted the car, seen that they had it, went into his house, had a look around in the kitchen, couldn't see it in there, went upstairs into his bedroom where he was asleep, took the car keys from the bedside table beside where he was sleeping, but didn't go, oh, we've got a 100 grand Q7, we can leave. Then went upstairs to the next floor to open his brother's bedroom door, take the laptop out of there, close the door, go down, put the laptop in the car and drive off. That would be, well, actually, that's not your worst nightmare because you wouldn't have woken up and no one would have been there. You'd have just woken up and not had a car or a laptop.
Yeah. I don't care about stuff like that because everything is insured. But for me, it's more so like physical safety. It's always like, that's paramount. If they take anything, I don't care.
I'm sure that we can come up with a solution that doesn't involve that guy being under the pillow there. We'll
I can take this out of the room.
We'll thrash it out.
Okay.
I have a question because for my sleep, I've always struggled with sleep my entire life. It takes me like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes like 4 or 5 hours just lying in bed because my brain is just moving so quickly to be able to calm myself down enough to actually fall asleep. Sometimes when I notice like, you know, because obviously I don't want to look at my phone and see what time it is and how long I've been awake because then that makes me anxious that I'm losing sleep. So sometimes after I know some absurd amount of time has passed, 4 or 5 hours, whatever, I'll just be like, you know what, screw it. I need to go on my phone. So I go on my phone, I open up Twitter, I do something that's mind numbing, something that like decreases my level of stress or just like the deep thoughts that I'm having about my career, my purpose, why I exist. how I'm supposed to do sponsor reads, all of these things. I'm trying to tune that out for something that is so superficial and just like surface level. And that actually, I've noticed, decreases my heart rate and dumbifies my brain.
Have you tried reading fiction instead?
I've read fiction before.
On an evening time?
I used to actually read fiction, but I selected fiction books that are like, I was reading Dostoevsky, and that's not like, that's one of those books where like, Crime and Punishment, where you just think and you're like, oh, if I do kill someone, I suffer a lot from that. And then you get all these like philosophical things going on in your brain.
You need to go for like a midwit approach here and be more basic, like the basic bitch approach of like, I don't know, like a nice, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig or something. It's like chicken soup for the soul. I don't know. Okay. I also struggle to get to sleep, which is why it's something that I've paid a good bit of attention to. Best stuff that I've realized for the people who are interested, the 3-2-1 method. So 3 hours before you go to bed, stop eating. 2 hours before you go to bed, stop drinking. 1 hour before you go to bed, no more digital lights. It seems like e-readers don't have the same effect on melatonin production, especially the new Kindles. You can turn it very warm. So they don't have the same issue that you would get from using a phone or using Netflix.
Do you say drinking water?
2 hours before, no more water.
I've never heard about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, do you go up to get up to the bathroom in the middle of the night?
Sometimes. I try to go right before I go to bed and then just like pray that I don't have to wake up.
Trying to cut your fluid consumption will help. And then there's all the basic stuff about sleep hygiene, going to bed at the same time. But ultimately, like, what you guys do are like high performance problem solvers that see issues before they happen. Like, so ultimately there's always this degree of like paranoia that's happening. And that is a massive competitive advantage, huge competitive advantage, as is portrayed by the like wall of plaques.